Hey guys, and welcome back. So it's been a while since I've just uploaded a video with me talking about nothing and smoking my pipe. So I thought, well, since that was where we started, I'll make sure to post a video like this here and there. So I went out here in my workshop. It's Saturday night, and I finally had some time on my hand to enjoy a pipe in my own company. So I will let you guys join in on that. So I picked up my Savinelli Roma 504 straight bulldog. This is an estate pipe that I restored some time ago. It's a pipe that I acquired for restoring and reselling, but sometimes when I come across a pipe that I'm refurbishing, I just kind of fall in love with it during the process, and it just ends up in my own collection. And this is a pipe that I'm actually smoking, and I'll probably hang on to it. I have a love for these straight bulldogs. Stan will make more or less the same shape. That's also a fantastic shape, and it's just an amazing pipe, and it just tasted good right away. It was an easy refurbishing job, only a light cleaning and a polish, and it was just amazing from the get-go. It's quite old with an anodized stem. Savinelli only makes acrylic stems now, so it's probably from the 90s or even older than that. And we're gonna be smoking a tobacco that I haven't tried before. Sometimes when I'm doing trades with people, I get some tobacco that comes with it, and I got a little bit of a tiny rest or a little bit of a Danish pipe tobacco that is made from Dan Tobacco in Germany. It's Mr. Former's Private Flake. And if you do not know who Former is, he is a Danish, very well known, very skilled, and still going strong pipe maker that is both making handcrafted pieces, one of a kind, and also not factory made because it's a small production, but shapes that are made in multiple, in a large scale. So I guess he has a few guys working for him, making his mass, I say mass production, it's not that, but it is duplicates of the same shape that he designed. Anyways, through Dan Tobacco, he has been having a few tobaccos released in his name, and this is the Private Flake. I read about it some time ago, but I didn't read up on it before deciding that today was the day that we're gonna be smoking it. It's very old, but it was not completely dried out. The flakes have this distinct look that they are indeed aged, and I would guess we are talking 10 years plus. So it should be perfect for enjoying. As I remember, if I'm remembering correctly, it is a Virginia based flake, possibly Perique, and it has some kind of a top flavor added to it, and it might be some kind of fruity top flavor. Usually I actually read up on the tobaccos before I smoke them, if it's the first time, but sometimes it's nice not to do that, because then you can get a first impression that is not colored or in any way affected by what you just read about it. So sometimes it's just nice to make your own impression. So we got the pipe stuffed. Check the airflow. Perfect. This pipe is for 9 or 6 millimeter, 6 millimeter, and I just never came to really enjoying my 7Ls with this with a filter in it. I don't know how you guys do it, because even if you pack your pipe very lightly, when you add the filter into it, the airflow is just completely blocked. You have no control of the airflow, and it's very difficult to keep the pipe lit because you have so little oxygen going around in the pipe, and you end up puffing like a freight train, and it's just a horrible experience. I never got around to 7L pipes working with the filter in it, so I smoke all my 7Ls without the filter. Let's light it up. On the initial light, I get a lot of Virginia. I get a capstan-ish flavor. The thing with Virginia is, guys, the flavor really only gets to what it should be when the ball kind of settles. When you initially light it with an aromatic, that is as good as the taste gets, more often than so, and it gets worse from there. With a Virginia, it kind of gets better. The sweetness will not come from the initial lighting. Everything kind of has to settle, and the temperature has to settle. Let's see. Definitely you get the aged feeling, aged Virginia. Already I'm picking up some kind of spice. I'm expecting Perique. I could be totally wrong. Let's say that I read on the tobacco first and I knew that was Perique in it. I would say that it was Perique, but now it tastes like Perique and you don't know if it is. You get the traditional terms of how you explain a straight Virginia, the hay, the grass. I get a slightly cigarette-ish taste. So I'm not which I don't like, is what I wanted to say. So let's say give it a few minutes and see where we are headed. And while we're doing that, let's not just only talk about the tobacco tonight. Okay, here we go. Now we're getting the sweetness. Anyways, maybe let's talk a little bit about how the channel evolved. So I just kind of started because I wanted to press record while I enjoyed my pipe, and I didn't really have much thought about it. I just went with it. I kept the camera rolling. I was just enjoying my own company and speaking with and to myself, and that was basically it. And that was it. Then my collection, pipe collection fever started, and that kind of took over a lot of my focus, and I thought it was interesting to record that process. So the last year, including the breaks that I have had from YouTube, where my pipe hobby has just been going strong, but I haven't posted anything on YouTube. I started collecting a lot of pipes, and then I went into restoring them, and that has just that was just a deep rabbit hole that I got into, and still I'm going deeper into it. Starting also to trade a lot of pipes, and I really enjoy the process. And eventually, I now have dreams and ideas about creating my own pipes at some point. But I'm kind of taking my time, not jumping head first into that process. I really want to learn about the restoration part of things, and I think I learn a lot about how pipes are constructed and how they are made and how they're supposed to be made for also be good for smoking. So I'm learning a lot in that right now. That might come in handy if I eventually will pick up a block of briar wood and start seeing where that process might eventually take me. So, but you shouldn't be expecting pipes from me in the very near future. But now it's out there that it's in my head. So I'm having a few ideas about starting a second channel only for the pipe collection, pipe restoring, and pipe reselling part of my hobby. Since if you want to grow a channel and you cannot get monetized, and I'm not at all doing this for any kind of profit, but how can I say it? It feels kind of like an empty goal to grow your channel and have it kind of flagged, and you do not have any control over if your channel might even be closed at some point. You never know in this industry with tobacco and pipes. So I have had thoughts about making, when I'm getting a new camera next month, to step up my production game, that maybe I wanted to start from scratch and have a channel with the collecting of pipes and the videos about the pipes and the restoring them and the reselling them and trading them and maybe making some auctions and that whole side of things, because that will not be related to smoking, and I could keep this channel going more or less how it started, with my own private side of things, how I enjoy my pipes and my tobacco, and kind of let that go on the side. So that was just some thoughts. So maybe if you would very kindly make a comment on how you would approach that idea, or what you would think of it. So that's just me, well, speaking my mind right now. It's only in the thought process. So, and the cellaring of tobacco, that whole theme would be on this channel, because that relates so much to tobacco and smoking it, and that again is a private matter that I'm doing. But I would think that it was nice to have a quote-unquote legal channel running, where I don't smoke and I do not talk about smoking. I enjoy the pipes as the piece of art that they are, and also to have something that can be sustained into the future, because we don't really know, and you could be worried about how the world is evolving with or without pipe smoking, and sometimes you get kind of afraid that the world is moving on without it. Basically, I'm certain that there will be a future for pipe smoking, but we don't know how it's going to be. If you are, and you most likely are, following stuff and things, YouTube channel with over 50,000 subscribers that have been making pipe content for a decade or more, a long time at least. and he have had a channel that was monetized for years, and since his channel was at a size where he was also investing a lot of his time into it, not only as a hobby, I guess he was also kind of or gotten used to or whatever, but he had some kind of small income from doing the videos and investing his time, and when that was taken away from him, I can understand that everything was thrown off for him, and he had to make up his mind about how he would approach things. And I know that you can donate to him on a side through a third party whatever website that I'm not familiar with, but I can understand why a guy like him would think about making another channel, but he's just way too deep into it, because he already, through 10 years or more, whatever, built his channel and his name. And when I'm still kind of on the newbie side of things, maybe I I have the opportunity still to make some choices if I'm gonna be into this for the long run. So if I'm gonna be heavily invested in pipe restoration and that kind of things, or even in the future making my own pipes, I might as well, I could at least try to take an approach where I try to keep that side of things disconnected from the consumption of pipe tobacco and that whole regulation thing. It might be a wise idea, who knows? So we will see. So what I have been up to lately is I have been focusing a lot on, after New Year's, that the whole situation with STG and McBaron, I started to heavily invest into cellaring pipe tobacco, and I'm kind of pulling a little bit back from that, since now, at least here in Europe, we have some more time to work with. So the time frame that I'm working with is more or less that even though some of the brands will be continuing to be produced in Europe, I want to cellar on the original McBaron blends that are still being produced in the original factory facility that is not closed yet in Denmark. So what I want to have in my cellar, I need to have that done before the Danish McBaron factory closes at that, and that could even be up to 1.5 years before that closes. So I have time. And in January we thought that we had no time. So I was kind of rushing my cellar through January and start of February, and now I can see that I don't need to be in that much of a rush. Of course, for you US guys, it's all already more or less game over for you guys, and I feel for you. So that has been one of my main focuses, and I have spent some time in how I'm developing how I'm going about doing my cellaring. I take notice, or I'm trying to keep track on my cellar through an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm vacuum sealing, and I'm having fun doing this process, actually building my cellar. But I've also had thoughts that if you invest too heavily in 1 year and then you stop, your cellar will be like you have only tobacco from the same production year, like 2024. And eventually down the line, you'll have a big gap where all of a sudden, let's say that you want to smoke your tobacco with a 10-year, if that's your smoking window, from 10 to 15 years, the tobacco is at its peak. And then all of a sudden, when you get the 10-year mark, your whole cellar all of a sudden becomes in its peak, and then you have a time frame where you have to enjoy it before it gets like very old. So what I'm trying to say here is that it actually is a good idea that you, if you have the time, that you invest doing years. So you invest into your cellar each year, so that you would have each year aging at a different rate or at the same rate, but you get the point. And right now, way over half of my cellar is from 2024 in recent times. So it's not a good idea or a good thing if I get to my end goal total bulk wise too fast, because everything will be from the same year. You get the point. So I need, of course, to focus on my Mac Baren the next year, and then I have other goals for blends that I would like to keep, because who knows if they will get in the danger zone next year or in 2 or 3 or 5 years. Who knows? So before the video will be too long, let's go back to the tobacco and close it off. What I think. Former Private Flake will probably not be a Virginia flake that I need to invest in. I will probably not be cellaring this one. So it's nice that you have a small sample. It was on paper one of the blends that could actually be something for me, but it's a kind of bland Virginia flake. The sweetness is not really there, and it's even has a decent amount of age on it. I'm not detecting any kind of top flavor. And the main issue for me with this is that I get a very slightly ashy, cigarette-ish like taste, and no, not for me. I don't have much experience with Dan tobacco, by the way, and I have a few blends that I really would like to try from Dan tobacco, since it's quite cheap compared to other tobacco, since it's produced in northern Germany, and the stores that I can buy tobacco from in Germany don't have a lot of extra prices to put on top for the end consumer, because the distribution is kind of easy. So Dan tobacco is actually very available to me at a very decent price point, because also Dan tobacco is, I don't know in the US for you guys, but at least it's cheaper than Mac Baren and Peterson and what else. And maybe it's just me, but I also feel, maybe that's just from the branding kind of, for me, Dan tobacco feels like, if I had to compare it to Coke, it would be like an off-brand Coke Cola. And somehow they have so many blends made in Dan tobacco that you have the feeling that some of them might be the same with a different label on them. The artwork seems kind of cheap. The names are weird. Even the packaging. Check out people doing reviews when they open a Dan tobacco tin. If you compare it to how Mac Baren are putting their tobacco in the tins, where everything just fits kind of neatly in, and the flakes are like bricks fitting correctly, and nothing is loose, or it looks kind of sloppy when you open a Dan tobacco tin, and the foil, not the foil, the paper insert on the inlay since the tobacco is not going edge to edge in the tin, it's like kind of settles in the middle and the paper is like all crumply. It looks more or less like when you have a used tin that you smoke out of, that you just reopen and open and close. When you break the seal of a Dan tobacco tin and look into it, it looks like a guy have been in there with their hands 5 times before. It doesn't feel like you're opening a fresh tin, if that makes any sense, guys. And maybe I'm just picky even focusing on stuff like this, because if the tobacco is top of the notch and it tastes amazing, all the stuff that I just said makes absolutely no sense and plays zero role in. If the tobacco is good quality, it's what counts. And basically I'm just trying to say that I would like to try some Dan tobacco more and get into that, since I think they will stay around for a long time, hopefully. But I do not have any experience to a large scale in that, so maybe it's just me. It feels like a kind of a discount brand. I shouldn't be stepping on anyone's toes here, so sorry if you love your Dan tobacco. Maybe I will end up changing my mind, hopefully. So far, this specific Dan tobacco flake isn't really good. But now I tried it. So we started with former Private Flake, and we will be ending on that. So the pipe, though, smokes amazing. So before we are getting close to 30 minutes, I'll be ending the video. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Please comment down below on any of the topics that I went through here, and be looking out for more videos in the future. And thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.